Welcome to Power Boat Talk, the podcast where we talk everything performance boats with your host, Joe Road.
Welcome to Power Boat Talk. This episode is brought to you by Freedom and Fuel clothing brand, made for people who love big horsepower, fuel-burning engines. It doesn't matter if you're into hot rods, off-road, side-by-sides, or of course, fast boats. Freedom and Fuel has the gear to match your passion for power and performance. You can find Freedom and Fuel clothing at all ADBA and NJBA drag boat races at the SoCal Jet Boats trailer or online at freedomandfuel.com. Today I have with me Shane Westerfield, every guy's dream, drag boat racer, car racer, just gets to do a lot of racing. So that's cool. But he was able to carve out a little time to come on and talk to us. So I appreciate it. We got through technical stuff as usual, and we're on. So thanks, man.
Of course, man. Here we are. I'm excited to do this.
Yeah. We were all set last week to do this, but you know, Shane is such a rock star driver that he got the call to go up and drive a alcohol car, was it? Or a fuel
this
car?
was a nostalgia funny car from Bucky Austin up there in Tacoma, Washington. We went over to Boise, Idaho, and did the race. So yeah, we were planning, you and I ended up flying out that day to go up there and go make it happen.
Yeah, and you had a good weekend, right?
It was a great weekend. Yeah, it was one that you looks good on paper, you dream of, and you write it all down for all the perfect scenarios, and it's exactly how it went. Showed up, didn't know if I'd fit in the car. I fit. Didn't know if I could drive it. We did okay there, and then after a couple rounds of qualifying, there was 15 cars. We were number one qualifier. We set low ET, top speed, and won 4 rounds on Sunday, won the race, and didn't hurt any parts, and came on with a Wally.
Wow. I thought I saw that. Okay, that's another Wally. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was great. You know, I got to drive one other nostalgia car earlier this year for Eddie Knox, which is a boat racer, as everyone knows. And now we have Todd Plate driving for him, another boat racer. So I had a little bit of experience kind of seeing what I was going to get into with that. But this car, it's fast, man. It's a fast car, you know, and it gets going there pretty quick, and just the vibrations and the way it pulls different than the alcohol car. It was just something I had to get used to. And it took me a few runs, you know, it looked all right from the outside, but the inside I was a mess. And
really
got a little better each run, and the car made me look better than I was probably doing.
Yeah. Oh, you answered some of the questions I think about. I know Jack Beckman a little bit, so we all know that he just climbed in a car and we've been playing phone tag, and I'm like, that's the stuff I want to know. Like, these cars are so finicky and the fit so tight on them. Like, and you basically just went and did what he's trying to do. I mean, you just stepped right in it and it worked. It's crazy that it seems crazy that could happen.
Yeah, no, it's really not supposed to go that way. I mean, the right way is you go to a guy's shop, you get fitted in the car, they build you a port and seat, they move the wheel, they move the pedals, and you just they build the car around you type of thing. And pretty much every other scenario, I got to do that. Well, this was such last minute. That's the only option we had, make it work there. So we're cutting out foam pads and stuffing them behind me, and the wheel was high, the pedals were close because the previous driver was a little bit shorter, but we made it work. You know, we got it down there and didn't screw up too bad. Yeah.
Well, it's obviously a good team that probably one, you must have known them and had a lot of trust in them to strap into a car with no notice like that.
Yeah, you don't just go and do that, you know, with everyone. And that was a situation where this team is very successful. Bucky Austin Racing does a great job. You know, it doesn't skip on any parts and skip any safety stuff. So climbing into that situation makes you sleep better at night. You know, you feel better about it. You're more comfortable about it. It's the same situation getting into a boat. You know, you don't just go jump in anyone's flat bottom and just go drive it. You know, it's got to do the right stuff with the right people to get you comfortable. And that's what makes you successful. You don't have to think about all the things that could go wrong. If everything's right, then you go do your job.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's the atmosphere, or what's the feel like at a nostalgia event compared to like an NHRA event?
Man, it was awesome. Boise, Idaho, Night Fire Nationals. That was the 53rd annual. I had never been there before. Heard people talk about it, and they packed that place out.
Really?
I could not believe it. We for that, what next session was it, Friday night and Saturday night. I mean, I guess people coming over from Boise State, the locals that lived there. People were still traveling pretty far to come see it, but man, I was a rock star there. I mean, I'm sitting in my driving seat in the van going up there, and little kids are pointing, that's the driver, check it out. And I'm signing autographs on the way, trying to put my helmet on, and we make the lap. It was a night run, header flame, so we were the quickest car, which was cool. And come back, and we couldn't even get to our pit. It was just swarm full of people. trying to get in there. So it made you feel cool. It's, like I said, you felt like a celebrity for a little bit. But the racetrack itself was great. The facility's clean and neat. And it was probably like how drag racing was in the 60s and 70s. It was honestly like that. The guys working there wearing the white pants and the collared shirts, hair all slicked back. I mean, it was a really cool event. I even told Bucky, if you fire me, I'm still coming back here next year. I just want to be part of it again. This was so cool. So it was a great it was a great race, and had a blast.
Awesome. Yeah, good job. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and then you recently I think you were part of an event, I guess a couple weeks ago up in Washington. Now for people who don't know, your boat rides a blown gas flat. That's the class you race in. And we lost one of those drivers here a few months ago, a guy named Kyle Cannon. You had a pretty cool event up in Washington, kind of to honor him.
Yeah, Kyle was a real good personal friend of mine, and we actually got to go back 20 years. We bought a boat that he had originally put together, an alcohol flatbottom. He put it together in the mid 90s, and he ran it for 4 or 5 years or so. And then it got tossed around a couple people. So we ended up with the boat. He came over, introduced himself, and he goes, I built this boat. I go, no, Rick Pitts built it. He goes, no, I built the boat. I went up to Canada. I laid the boat up. Here's this material. Here's what it is. And so from then on, we just became friends, and, go through phases, wouldn't talk as much, but we'd still see each other at least once a year somewhere. And so when this blown gas flat thing started taking off, he started showing a lot of interest. He goes, man, I want to come do this. And I kind of thought he was joking. He was into motorcycle riding and whatnot. Here you go. March of 22, he rolls in, brand new truck and trailer, boat all redone, brand new engine, 12-degree profiler head deal. I'm like, oh, dude, you're into this. Like, you're ready to go. He goes, oh, yeah, dude, I'm here. And, I mean, that dude would drive from Washington all the way down to Bakersfield every month to come race with us.
Really?
Couple times he would pass 2 races on the way down just to come race with us with our class. So yeah, we became buddies, and see each other at the river. And super unfortunate incident that happened to him. It wasn't really even a racing related incident, but fortunately was killed. And so his family's all up from Washington. So Kyle always put together an event for us to go to the Oregon race each year, and trying to get these guys that all race in Bakersfield. That's our little hub where NJBA is based out of. And it's a plug and play program. Everyone knows where they're going to pit. Everyone knows who they're going to race. And it's cool. It's a great club and organization that they have there. But once a year, Kyle's like, hey, listen, guys, I come to you 6 times a year. Come to me once. That's all I'm asking. So in 21, he went up there. He couldn't, or 22, he went up there. He couldn't get any of us to go. 23, he goes, all right, I got some money. Now will you come? So we did. I think there was 9 or 10 of us went up there, and we had a great time. CDBA took care of us. Got us our pit spots, make sure, we had ice and waters, and they towed us to the starting line. It was great. But Kyle was the head of it. He made that thing happen. He was the one driving it. He was the one that found the money. He brought towboats. I mean, he promoted it. It was his deal. So the event, he was gearing up again, getting ready for that July race in Oregon. And he was, killed in April. So me, Michelle Fleming, a couple people from the CDBA, Cole Billings, and Tim Tregononi, we kind of took it back over, and Cheryl Cannon as well, Kyle's wife, and raised even more money than Kyle. We were like, yeah, we got you. And got, I think 8 of us went up there, and
nice.
We put on a real good race. It was good side-by-side racing. Did a real cool tribute for him on Saturday for the 3rd qualifier. We got all the blown gas guys on the rope. Cheryl came up with her brother and one of Kyle's custom vectors that he built, twin turbo thing. And they showed up, and they poured his ashes out right in front of us. And they had a beer for him. The dude loved drinking Coors Light, just like most of us probably do. And had a beer for him, and they made it a pass right in front of us. And then we were first to go. And I'm usually not like an emotional person. I usually keep it together. I'm sitting there, man. I got a tear rolling out of my eye. They go, all right, Lane, you ready? I'm like, no, give me a minute here.
Give me a minute.
Yeah. Everybody's sitting in front of me right now, and the whole family was lined up on the beach, and there was probably 200 Kyle Cannon shirts, and
nice.
It was really cool, actually. Made a great lap. I went number 1 qualifier on the pass by 1/1000th of a second, so I'm sure Kyle took care of that one for me, and it was cool. Ended up getting beat in the semis on Sunday, but I hope we continue to keep doing this for him each year, because it's a lot
That's
of fun,
awesome.
and he'll always be remembered.
Awesome. Why? I think your dad was an alcohol flat guy, right?
Yes, sir.
So why blown gas flat? How'd you migrate to that?
So the alcohol flat deal, we got going in that. Dad ran open boats from 1980 on and off through 06. And then 07, the opportunity came up to buy this boat. So we were able to get it and kind of piece the motor together, and we showed up. We were just kind of there. We weren't really competitive at first, and then had some people help us and got a little better. And Dad won his first race in Augusta, Georgia in 07. And then he had a runner-up Marble Falls, and we ended up finishing second that year. It was cool. 2008, got a little bit more money, traveled again, hit 10 races. We won the championship, IHBA championship. It was between us, Don Ermshire, and Don Bauscher, which those were the guys to beat, and we somehow beat them. I was 20 years old tuning it. Dad was driving it. 09, we were running right there in the points, and Dad ended up having to have back surgery. So we had to finish with Tony Scarlatta actually took over the driving, and we lost the championship by 1 round. So at the end of it, Dad had his surgery. He couldn't drive the boat anymore. And we weren't sure what we were going to do. Do we continue to do this? Do we go travel? We didn't have really the funding to do it the right way again. So at the time, I was actually looking for a spare blower. I'm online on Inside Top Alcohol, and I saw a funny car for sale like 20 miles from us. I thought, that's weird. Let's go check it out. So kind of fast forward that program, we ended up, let's go buy the car. I'm like, Dad, we don't know anything about this. Like, none of us know. I worked for John Force Racing for 1 year just to kind of get my feet wet.
Oh, that's cool.
Really but it wasn't the greatest experience that I had. I didn't really have a lot of fun. And I was such a homebody with the boat guys, because you walk down the pits, you know everybody, and walk into their pit, grab a beer and hang out. And car racing was a lot more serious. It wasn't the same as boat racing was. So I kind of didn't have the warm and fuzzy to go do it. I wasn't sure this was the right move, but we did it, made the move. We started car racing. So we're doing it for a couple of years. And my parents have always had a house in Big River, just south of Park, Arizona. And, Saturday night, it's like Van Nuys Boulevard, street racing comes out. So all the hot rod guys would be out there. And I'm getting a little older now and saving a little bit of money. I go, man, we got to get another boat just to go play with on the river. And, so the same month I decided to move out of my house, to buy a flat bottom, and to get married. So all the savings I had just gone, And so I bought a boat. It took about a year to put it together, just pieced the motor together, and bought a brand new boat from Brian Dunn, found a trailer, just kind of, Dad and I worked on it in the garage, got it all put together, and just started playing on the river. And I knew how to drive a flat bottom. I actually drove the alcohol flat one time just to say I did it. When I was 20, my dad let me do it, which was a really bad idea. They probably shouldn't have, but I did it. Got it to roll over, didn't crash it or nothing. But I wasn't ready for it, and I should have, it was bad timing, and I shouldn't have been in that position, but we tried. Anyways, now I got my own boat. I'm paying for it and playing on the river, having fun. And then there's a race at Blue Water. Let's go try that. And then, there's a race at Havasu, and it just kind of evolved, and then before you know it, Dad wanted to get a boat, and we were playing with on the river. And so we decided to go to an NJBA race at the end of 2016. And we showed up. We both have Chevrolets, blown gas. No, I had the Aries at the time. He had the Chevy. So we signed up for blown gas, and we show up Saturday morning. We're the only two. I go, wow. When we left in 09 or 10, whatever it was, there was a bunch of blown gas guys. What happened? I start talking to people. They go, just kind of fizzed, and everyone started bracket racing. I'm like, well, that kind of sucks. I mean, nothing against bracket racing, but we're heads-up racers. And no, man, we got to get this back going. So I actually walked around the pits. There was 4 other blown gas boats there, but they're running different bracket classes. So guys, come join me. It'll be more fun. So they did. And it was Craig Lucas. It was Jim Shelton. Sean Giroux was there. And just kind of evolved. And then before you knew it, the next year, we started raising some money. And, we had 4 or 5 boats each race of 17. And then in 2018, that's when it really took off and started raising more money for the class. And it just kept evolving now, man. I mean, at times now, if I could have everyone show up that say they would show up, there'd be, 20 of us. But
wow,
won't always happen. So, but to go back to the original question, why not the alcohol flat? We've talked about it here and there. Man, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of money, we've done it. And I'm a very old school type of guy. I know the class has kind of gotten away from the old school side of it. We were still banging and gearing the shifter not too long ago. And, we all had small blowers, and now people are spending money. It's kind of cool to watch. I mean, people are now buying screw blowers. We have these electronics now, timing control. People have fuel management now, and it's exciting to see it go. Some people are kind of getting pushed out because they think they don't have the money to keep up. But if you just get down the racetrack, you can win any race. Craig Lucas proved it a couple years ago, blown carbureted. He never qualified number 1. He qualified like 8th or 9th every race. and won the championship. Just kept going rounds, kept going rounds.
Oh, so, no kidding. He won the championship.
Won the championship.
Wow.
Whipped all of us. Yeah,
wow.
It was actually really cool to watch. So I've had so much fun on the promoting side of it, trying to get people to show up. And I mean, in all honesty, built a business around it. You know, Dad and I did back at the end of 20, and a lot of our customers are blown gas guys. So the alcohol flat thing, I'm not saying never. And it's actually, that class is starting to come back a little bit. But right now I'm focused blown gas, heads up, open boat racing. It's the last heads up class open boat left in the country. I know people think Pro Comp Flat is a heads up class. It's not. It's an index. You know, they got now the Pro Limited Jet, which is cool. They run that in Texas. Heads up. Like I said, you're kind of getting it now. I'm a heads up guy. Racing to me, first one there, you know, hang it out the best you can, safe as possible, but first one there style racing. That's what I personally like. But that's just me.
Now, when you walked around the pits that first time trying to recruit those bracket racers, because the bracket guys, they probably like heads up too, but they're in brackets because they can be competitive and they don't have to spend the money and try to compete from a money standpoint. But obviously, it didn't seem like any of them had reservations about doing that. And you're keeping it. I mean, did you have to tweak the rules any or anything to kind of keep it somewhat civilized or no?
No, well, that's a funny question. Yeah, it depends who you talk to about rules right now. Because when the class was there for the rules, the rule book said run gasoline with the blower. And that was about it. That was about all the rules was, you know. Yeah. They didn't have a way to check the fuel. So rules have kind of come into effect, some involving me. We've raised a lot of money this year to go racing. Right now, if you go win blown gas flat at any race, it's $2,500 to win, $1,500 runner-up, and then I think $750 or $500 semis. I forget how we got it laid out. But that was helping attract people, but we had to put rules in it. If you wanted, I kind of called it like a run for the money. If you want to part of the money program, then you got to follow these rules. So it doesn't actually even involve NJBA. NJBA rule book is still vague on the blown gas, not throwing anyone under the bus. It's just vague. So there, you could run just about anything you wanted. You could run a turbo. You could run a centrifugal blower. You can run screw blowers and any overdrive. So all we did, we just kind of minimized it. Screw blowers, roots blowers only, maximum overdrive for both. You know, run race gas still. Really still even no way to check gas. I wish there was, but we're getting there. You know, because and NJB does a great job, but they're a club. They are not a professional organization. Yeah, right. They are a club that people like you and I have regular jobs during the day, and then they go work on this at night to try to keep it going. And they do a great job. They do a great job. It's a lot of work. So I just kind of kept trying to promote to them, listen, we need heads. We need a couple of heads up classes. Just give me something here. So there's still really, it's alcohol flat and it's blown gas. You might see an unblown fuel jet show up, and then they got that 660 class now. So it's cool because some of that stuff took off after we kind of got blown gas going again. So it's exciting to watch, but yeah, a lot of people get upset with me at times that I did bring some rules in, but heads up racing, you need a rule book to go off of. Otherwise, the guy with the biggest checkbook will win.
Yeah, right, exactly. Line. Yeah. So NJBA rules are what they are, but you're the guy dealing out the cash, so you can make them listen.
Yeah, and some people felt I built the rules around me. Well, we've had 4 races this year. We've had 4 different winners, 4 different runner-up guys. The points now, the top 4 people are within a round right now. So nice. The rules couldn't be too screwed up because now it seems to be working pretty good. And it's kind of a dogfight now. The 2 races left, and it's between I'm kind of out of it, honestly. The guy who kind of got it going, I'm like down in 4th or 5th. But Jeff Martin, Jason Silva, Kelly Reed, and Frank Cush, they're within a round and a half of each other right now with 2 races left. So it's going to be good.
Nice. You can just tell by the look on your face and the smile when you talked about the carbureted guy when he won. Like, you're just as happy for that guy, it seemed like.
Oh, because it's great for everybody, because that gave hope to the guy who's running a bracket class with a blown gas engine that says, hey, I can't keep up. But yet his bracket boat is faster than what Craig Lucas' boat is. But he goes, I just got to run a bracket. I'm more competitive. Come on. I go, what do you want to do? And I'll talk to these guys. Well, I want to be with you guys. So I kind of hear like a moping voice. I'm like, God. And I mean, some of the things you got to talk these guys off the ledge to show up. It's kind of entertaining, actually. I mean, you share some of the excuse. I mean, I get it. I wear people out. I will wear you out. You say you're going to go, I'm calling you every other day.
Yeah.
But I've heard stories like wheel bearings in my trailer aren't good, or, my trailer's falling apart, or, my truck's got an air coat on. I don't think I can make it. My sister's second family member from her dog's brother isn't feeling good. I don't think I can go. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard it all.
Yeah.
Like, come on, get off the couch, come race your boat. Let's go.
Yeah. That's awesome. To tell you, I don't know. Do you actually, is this completely just loosey goosey handshake thing, or is this like you have like a club or organization, or how do you
I have a form that we came up with that they basically just sign it, and it shows what the rules are and what you are agreeing to the rules, and the class rep of NJBA for our class. So every class has a rep that, if there's an issue, you feel like there's something wrong with your class, you go to the rep goes to the board for you to represent you guys. So we have a class rep. It's Kelly Reed right now. So at any time, if someone thinks that Mike Chadwick is cheating or if Craig Lucas is cheating, they can go to Kelly Reed, and Kelly Reed can go to their pit. And I mean, there's only so many things. It's overdrive. It's all you can really check. That's the rules are. And he can look at it and count the teeth. And they've done it a couple times. People thought other people were cheating, and Kelly goes over there and checks it out, and then
nice.
Come back, and it's all good. Yeah.
Have you had other guys with other classes, like kind of, no, like how'd you do this kind of thing,
No, it's all the rest are bracket guys. So, what their boat runs, it runs. And now they're in classes where they make their own index, so if their boat's slow that weekend, they just dial a slower number, So the heads up thing, no, man, you're going to burn your shit up trying to make it happen. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, as competitive as it is, I mean, it's obviously working. That's very cool.
Well, and it's cool to talk to some of the other engine builders now that are getting involved because it's more fun for them too. I mean, I'm real good buddies with Joey Gross. The HUR engines up there, all tight with those guys now, and they're building engines for that class because they were very involved engine building side back when it was all pro gas and comp flat stuff, and they had boats, and it was fun for them because it's about making the most power, and they're on dynos, and they were spending a lot of money then. And then that class fizzed also, and so it turned in they were building motors for bracket guys, and they build it, and then it runs what it runs. So there's nothing to do. Now these guys coming back after each race, they're pulling their motors out, they're pulling them apart, and they're seeing how much farther they could push it if, bearings are moving or if rings are button or whatever, and then they're back on the dyno, they're trying again. So it was kind of cool to talk to some of these guys, like people are back spending money again per race to try to make their stuff faster each time, and they haven't seen that in 20 years. So that's really the only class for it. I mean, the alcohol flat guys, there's a couple of them, but they're not, innovating at all like we are right now. We're trying different stuff every race right now to get every couple thousands we can out of our equipment.
Well, then it almost doesn't, I don't know, probably not really even appealing to a guy because, I mean, alcohol, it's going to cost you more money. You're going to go faster. But now if you have nobody to race because that's right. Ultimately, everybody just wants to race somebody, right?
And that's the thing. And that's why I think when the blown gas thing fizzed out originally, or even pro gas, it was 8 boats. And then it was, you show up, this guy can't make it. This guy broke. He's out for a while. And then this guy's out of money right now. He's not coming back. Before you know it, there's 2 to 3 showing up. And then those guys show up and then it's racing the same people each time. And I get it. It gets boring. And that's kind of, alcohol flat was actually worse. But like David Guy, Jeff Stewart right now, and Jones, they're building the class back up. And there's a couple new boats being built. I actually have a new one coming into our shop next week. I just put the motor together for the guy. Wyatt McAllister's coming back. There's a couple new ones. So if they can get back to 8 or 9, I'll tell you, you need 8 boats. 8 boats is perfect. Then it's no buy runs, 3 grounds of competition. You got to get a good qualifying spot still, so you have a little bit easier first round. 8 is like the magic number that, if you can at least get 8 for any class, then you're looking good. So alcohol flat's on its way. And who knows, that might take off and might spark interest, and I'll go put one together. But still, I'm always going to have at least one in blown gas. I won't leave that for that. That's my baby right now. I've worked so hard at it to keep it going. And it's a struggle at times, but right now it's still pretty fun.
But, going back to the nostalgic car, I mean, these things are so finicky, and the tunes are it's got to be nice when you get a familiarity to the thing, as much as you can, and, be consistent, and that'd be hard to kind of walk away from, I would think, because you almost got to start over again sometimes, right?
Oh yeah. If you go to alcohol flat, it'd be completely starting over, or anything you do. Yeah. You got to get your baseline. And unfortunately in boat racing, you don't get to go run every weekend. You can't.
Oh yeah. Is that too? Yeah.
You get 6 times a year, 2 runs a day. So you do the math, it's not many runs you get to make. In the car world, you can go test every weekend. I was averaging in my car 85 to 95 runs a year that I would make. And you learn a lot real quick. And believe it or not, even that many runs, you can still get lost for 30 of them, and people wonder why you struggle at times. And it was dumb as, you change the compression half a point, and all of a sudden you're all thrown off now. Then you try to get back, to where you were, but you already changed your fuel system for the more compression and you're still lost. So it does happen pretty easy.
Now you're talking about your alcohol funny car, right?
That was, I don't even know one anymore, but we ran our own alcohol funny car from 2010 through 18. We won the national championship 17 and the regional championship same year, bunch of seconds. And then I started driving for Rick Jackson Motorsports in 2019.
Okay. You're still driving that car?
Still driving that car now. We have an 8-race schedule for this year, national events only. And then probably next year, probably do about the same thing. And then there's Bucky Austin thing. He got to the first race good, and he wants to keep me for the rest of the year there and possibly move into next year and do that. So luckily, NHRA runs both of those, so they don't stack events on top of each other. So with the Rick Jackson car, that's 8 national events, and then the other car, it would probably be 8 also, but it's all different weekends. So it just fills in the weekends, and then I got the boat racing in between. You kind of squeak all that in as well.
How was that transition when you got away from actually working on the car to just showing up and being a driver, or do you do more than that, or is that
on the alcohol car? So I drive it and I tune that car.
Oh, you do tune it. Okay.
Yeah, but physically working on it, no. There's 3 great guys on the team. One's full time on it, and no, I pack the chutes and pour fuel in it. Otherwise, I'm just completely in the way. They got their own deal. It's actually an artwork to watch them how they work on it. It's pretty cool. So I try to stay back on that one. And the fuel car last week, and they asked me, "Do you want to work on it?" I'm like, "Man, I'll pack the chutes also. I can help if we need to fill in." I mean, I'm a mechanically inclined person. I work on my own car every day, and I work on motors every day. I can do that, but there's times if I'm running both cars at the same time, I can't be here the whole time. So you better find a crew guy that can take that position, whatever you need me to do. So they did. I didn't work on that one at all either. I just drove, but I didn't even tune that one. So that was just pack the chutes and walk around and wear out my shoes, until it was time to go.
Sign autographs.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah. So you said you basically made a business out of it. So when you were talking about the blown gas boats, how did that happen? What were you doing before you were doing boat stuff?
So my father and my grandfather, they started a trade show exhibit company back.
Really?
3 months before I was born, in June of '87, and started in 4,000 or 5,000 feet, and worked their way up till the very end. There in 20, they were in a building in Corona, 65,000 square foot building. They were up to 30 employees, and just zooming along, man. Everything was good, and Dad had a couple people kind of running the company for him. I was just doing the purchasing there to still be involved, but I was not running the business by any means. I was a worker guy there, and COVID hit in March of 20, and we were in the event side. We had 23 shows going, and within 4 days, all 4 were shut down. So they all come back to the shop, and all the exhibit, we're all sitting there looking at each other. We shut the shop down for a month. My dad still paid everybody, just, not sure what was going to happen. Brought everyone back in May, and we didn't turn a saw on until we finally shut the doors.
Wow.
My dad kept everyone on payroll, did everything he could. Never even came close to, shutting the doors ever in the 34 years in business. And little virus, man. People got weak and scared and whatever you want to call it. I mean, when people say, "Oh, it was real," I lost this, I lost that. I go, no, listen, like when you lose a business like that,
right,
you see all people that had to lose their jobs because of it. It kind of makes you angry. So we were starting to kind of work on boats on the side anyway, just for something to do, because we'd literally go to work each day and just look at each other for 8 hours, and just hope the phone would ring. So we started kind of trickling our way into it, started working on boats, but we're in 60,000 feet, square foot of a shop. We don't need that big a shop to work on boats. So first part of December of 20, we started driving around looking for buildings. Like, man, we may have to actually do this, because no light at the end of the tunnel at the time. No one really knew what was going to happen as far as the trade show side. And then the biggest scare we kept hearing was people, our current customers, well, when the shows do open, we'll just take our old stuff there. We'll just see how it goes. We'll try that for a year or so. And then if it does come back, then we'll build something new. Well, that's not any good for us. And obviously no one's going to come in and try to, go build a brand new one when there's not even a show to go to. And people found other ways to market. My wife has a marketing degree. That's what she does for a living. And people found new ways to market without having to go to shows. Didn't really have to happen. So like, all right, we got to make a move here. So found a building in Fullerton right down the street, well, about 20 miles from where we were at the time. And a little 4,000 square foot shop, and had to personally guarantee the building for me, which was scary the first time, and I had a kid on the way at the time. So we got the shop open and backed our boats in, looked at them for about 2 weeks, and the phone started ringing. We were promoting it on Facebook and, and Instagram and all that, and the phone hasn't stopped ringing since.
Nice.
I kind of keep waiting for it to slow down, and oh man, this might stop one day. And even when times get tough, it's crazy. It's been a lot of fun, and I think we still have the reputation. Boat guys kind of got a bad rap for years. You hear boats going to a shop and they have a couple birthdays there. They don't leave.
Oh yeah.
And we've all seen it. I've all witnessed it. So I think the mentality we still have is if the boat's just sitting there, we're not making money on it. So we get in, we work on it, we get it out, because I'll get paid quicker and get to the next guy. And we have a couple, kids that work for us, and they're real good. And one of them real good right now, young guy, 20 years old, and he does all the wiring, a lot of the plumbing on the boats, and he's a smart kid. So
wow, you got a 20-year-old that you can turn loose on that stuff?
Dude, it's crazy. He's good. He's really good.
You probably shouldn't be talking about him on here.
No, I already know. He's going to probably, he's got to go start making some more money here. He's probably going to leave us here pretty soon, which we've already had that conversation, but he does a really good job for us. And I'll be bummed when he does.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really good to hear. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, you don't hear 20-year-olds like that. I mean, he got so into it. He went and bought himself a little Sanger flat bottom, got a junkyard motor for him. We put it all in, and he goes to the river more than I do now. Running up and down. It's awesome. He had never even been before. Now he's all into it.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool to hear.
Yeah, so that's been fun. It was kind of awkward. Like, what are we going to actually do here? Like, as far as the boat side, are we putting boats together? Are we just reworking them? Motor side, we put motors together, and then I acquired a flow bench, and now it's kind of turned into, for most people, it's a one-stop shop. You can back your brand new boat in. I'll put all the rigging in it, put the V drive in it. I mean, I'll set it up. I'll build you an engine, do the fuel system, put it in, you turnkey leave. Some guys just want engines built. Some guys will bring their boat in. They just want to, new motor rails put in or a V drive redone. I mean, it all depends, but a lot of guys have turned into, like on the racing side of it, they'll come back from a race. I'll back their boat in. I'll take the engine out. I'll do work I need to do to the boat. I'll take the boat. I'll work on the engine, service it, put it back in, put it back in the boat, fire it. They'll come and grab it, and they're ready for the next race. They don't have to work on it, Nice. So obviously not everybody can afford that. But for the guys that, have their normal 8 to 5 jobs and do all right for themselves, they don't want to have to work all day and then go work in the garage all night to get it going, So it's kind of a cool thing that we've worked out. And not everyone does that, obviously, but we have a handful of customers that we do, and then a lot of river people as well. And we're still doing engines for car guys as well, a couple 8th mile carts and engines for, and a lot of like top dragster guys, top sportman guys we do fuel systems for and stuff like that. So it's kind of, people ask, what do you do? Well, a little bit of everything, kind of, but it's been a lot of fun. My he's 69 years old here on Friday, and he works harder than me every day. He's in there on the mill, on the lathe, loves building parts, and everything's one-off custom. You can't build the same kit for a boat and go have it fit in the next boat. Your wood and fiberglass, nothing's straight, nothing's right. So everything's one-off custom, and he has a lot of fun with it and does a real good job.
Yeah. So you never did when you first did it. I mean, you didn't have the plan. You just said, we're gonna kind of start here, or
we didn't have a choice. It's like we gotta get out of that big building because we can't afford that rent anymore. And unfortunately, like I said, with 25 employees, we're sorry, we can't work anymore. So kind of got through that real quick, and then all right, let's get the shop set up. And my dad was funny when he had the exhibit shop. He had a full metal shop that he had in the corner, and probably had the most exotic metal shop for a trade show shop ever, because that was his fun. So we had a couple mills, a couple lathes, like top of the line welders, and table saws and band saws, all for metal stuff. We did some metal at the trade show stuff, but mainly 90% of it would cut wood. So people were like, "Why do you have that over there?" Well, that was like my dad's big hobby shop, basically, what it was. So for us, fortunately, we didn't have to go out and work a bunch of money out for equipment. So we just moved all that metal equipment over to our shop where we're at now. So one whole section of it is just the metal shop area, we call it. And there was really no setup. It was nice, and it was all ready to go, and threw it in the corner and plugged it in. And here we are.
Yeah. You're like, you're smarter than I thought, Dad. Now I knew what you're doing that whole time. You were preparing.
Like he was planning it for years. He just didn't tell me,
Yeah. That's the other bad part, good part about COVID. You almost feel guilty because so much, it was so bad, but then people like you guys, I mean, you took your hobby and now you get to make it into a living. I mean, that's pretty cool at the end of the day,
You know what? You are right. Yeah. The part I felt bad on was, like I said, I watched my dad build that company, him and my grandpa, and my dad was always bummed because he didn't want to ever have it go away when my grandpa was still around. Well, he's still around to this day, but it's all good. Everyone's fine. Everyone's made peace with it. You know, you can't hold a grudge, it is what it is. But at the same time, you're right, it is exciting. Now, Dad and I get to work together every day because the exhibit thing was his business. That was him and my grandfather's business. I was just kind of there. And so now I got my name on something with him. It's our business. We get to do together. We make our choices together, how we want to do it. And
oh, nice.
I'm surprised we haven't had any Ducats yet, but so far it's been pretty good.
Yeah, very cool. You said something about you do a lot of one-off stuff. I think I heard, are you doing some V-drive shafts and some stuff like that too, or cab handles, or some of those kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, no, we got our own rudder boxes. We have our own down pedals. We're almost there, basically making a V-drive. You know, I got one machine shop right now for us, makes a lot of top shafts. I got shafts, I got dogs, I got housings, I got cases, got bearings coming in now, and trying to find. I got a guy to make gears, so kind of getting. I don't have one that's completely done yet by any means. I'm getting there as far as that goes, but a lot of these parts, you know, it's tough to have stuff stocked up on the shelf, ready to go for someone just to walk in and want to go buy something. Like I said, I have down pedals and I got rudder boxes and I got quadrants, stuff like that I'm making. But drag boats or any type of boats, they're just, everything has to be just like one-off. So even when I sell a part to somebody, it's like, listen, it's there, but there's still some modifying you got to do on all these things to get it to fit. You know, it's not just plug it in and go. Best case scenario, just bring me the boat, I'll put it in free and away you go. You know, I make motor feet. I got all those done. I got motor rails pre-done, but they still 1979 Hondo compared to a 2024 Bullet. They're just not the same, you know, and it's tough to make all that happen. I got my own turnbuckles I make now, standoffs. I mean, we've been kind of slowly seeing what goes and what works and what doesn't work for everyone. We still learn every day, you know, what's the hot item to go. But the T-shirt thing's been pretty cool, actually. I was going to
ask you. Yeah, let me ask you about the V-drive fire. Let me finish on that though. But yeah, I want to talk about that. But will you ship stuff if somebody calls you up and order stuff? You'll ship parts okay, cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got 20 sets of dogs sitting there. I sell those all the time. I got perfect. Top shafts, bottom shafts. I got housings. Oh yeah, no, I'm lined up there. People call and they know exactly what they want and what they need. Yeah, a lot of the times, honestly, they'll just ship me the V-drive. And then we'll just go through it and redo it and ship it right back or deliver it on the road. Kind of cool about being at every race. There's a lot of guys all through northern and central California. And I just say, hey, bring it to Bakersfield. I'll throw it in the truck, take it back, and then come back the following month, pick it up there and take it back up, you know, and save on shipping and UPS, all that good stuff.
Or you just load up your truck with spare parts if they need them, right? And
Oh, yeah. Got lots of that. That's why we actually, well, it's not even our trailer. It's Jim Whiteley's trailer, but it's stock full of stuff. You know, it's ready, not completely ready to go, but I have a lot of parts if someone does.
That's cool. Anybody that's in the V-Drive stuff know it's a little bit of a challenge now, or it's been for a while trying to get Cassell parts.
And that's what forced us into kind of doing a lot of stuff. And I mean, Drew Cassell comes to our shop all the time, so it's not like I'm not hiding nothing from him. He knows because he's going through the struggle of trying to get parts built too. You know, Joe Schaffel, same thing. He's trying to get parts and do his thing, you know. So it's not all trying to take business from each other by any means. It's just when someone calls and needs the part right now, you got to have the part on the shelf, you know, otherwise they're going to go to the next guy. They're going to go to the next guy. So we're trying our best to stock up and be ready for when that phone call comes in.
I think sometimes that the public, I see some on the forums, the guys like, oh, this guy knocked this guy off or this guy, whatever. But I don't think they understand. I mean, you got to make a living. You got to put food on the table. And some of these suppliers, they're small and it's tough, you know, so they can't keep up, and you just got to do what you got to do, unfortunately. But
very, very small margins at times. Yeah. So that's what I always say. I got diapers to buy. I got another kid coming. So don't try to rob it from me here.
And you know what? And you're willing to spend the money to put the stuff on the shelf. You know, I mean, it's not cheap.
Exactly. No, it's not. You got to fork a bunch out in the beginning to get the prices down. And everyone knows how that works. You know, I can't just go buy. I'm trying to get gears. But the problem is these guys, you got to build 30 sets of gears. Well, gears are going for $1,500 a piece now. I mean, do the math. It's a lot of money you got to put up front to how long you get to hold on to these gears for, you know. And I can't sell them for $500. I got to sell them for a lot of money. That just skyrocketed. I mean, the last 2 years. I mean, you could buy gears all day long for $350. Now, used gears are going for over $1,000.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I've seen the same gears I've sold once for $350 come back to the shop. Wow. It's been $900. So, and then the people don't want to get rid of them because they know how hard they are to get. People are hoarding their gears. So kind of a game out that.
But you can consistently get gears built if you need. I mean, if you had 10 sets sold of gears or whatever, you can get them done.
Yeah, these guys won't even turn the machine on though until it's like about 15 to 20 sets. That's
20 sets, yeah.
So to answer your question, no. If you called right now and said, "Hey, go build me a set of 18s," I can't get that done for you right now.
But I mean, if you had 20 guys that wanted 18s, you could do it.
Oh yeah, then we're good. But not going to get that every day.
Right. Well, at least that's progress. I know the gears were kind of always the holy grail to try to get built.
And dogs were a problem for a long time too, and cases. But cases and dogs we got figured out. At least I did. I got that part figured out. I'm good. And shafts I got figured out. We're good. Gears are going to be a problem for a little while. So we're on the bridge right now. I'm not going to say we cross. We're on the bridge. We're fighting it, but we'll come up with something. It might be all of us that are in the V-Drive world.
That's what I'm thinking.
So we just all get together. All right, pile it in. Let's build some gears and go from there. That could probably happen.
Yeah, well, that's cool to keep it going. So, yeah. So tell me about your T-shirt deal. It's pretty cool.
So I tried taking all the credit for being my idea, but it wasn't. It was totally my wife's idea. She goes, "You got to." I mean, my dad always said he's older school. He goes, "We got to have some like paraphernalia. We got to do like the koozie cups, or we got to do some hats. We got to get our name out there." So it was my wife's idea. Why don't you do a T-shirt and you put a different boat on it each month that either your customers or people you like, whatever it might be, and it has your name on it with their boat. I'm like, dude, it's awesome. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And, you can become a member and you get it for a year or 6 months, however long you want to do it. And I get people that have been on it now I've been doing it for 2 years now. They've called like, "Hey, I got enough shirts, But I still get people that call in like, "Dude, that's cool. Yeah, I want one." And a lot of the times it's the wives that call in to get it for the husbands because they're like, "I'll have to go shopping for them now." And they get a T-shirt every month.
Right.
Just gets the credit card. We're good. So it's been fun. And now it's to the point guys I race against or even river guys are like, hey, what do I got to do to get on the shirt? What do I got to do? So like, you can't ask for it. It is what it is. Yeah. And it's whatever I'm into that month. I literally pick them like 3 weeks in advance what I'm going to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I already got the next one picked out here for next month. But the best part is keeping it a secret. I mean, it's really only me and the T-shirt company that know.
Really?
So when it does come out, the guy who owns the boat or drives the boat, they're usually pretty excited about it. They got picked for it. This last month we did a guy, it's Tony T-Tone, raced for years and blown gas and alcohol flat. He was all excited. And his T-shirt was popular. I sold, I have like over, I think like 85 or 90 members now. Those sold, and I usually get 10 or 15 extra just for people to call in.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Gone. And then Tony called in today. He wanted to buy like 10 shirts. I go, "Dude, they're gone." He goes, "What?" So the guy who was on the shirt didn't even get one. I forgot to save it for him.
Oh, no.
Yeah, kind of my fault.
Yeah.
But it's cool. So people still like it. I haven't lost all the members yet, so we'll keep doing it as long as it makes sense.
Yeah, and that's a great idea. The designs are really cool. Like, I don't know about you, but I have a thing for those campy boat shirts where there's 7 different boats and it's all, Sunday. So, but yours are like really cool, very classy. I like them. But so it's like beer of the month club, right? T-shirt of the month club.
Exactly. Yeah, that's probably where my wife saw it. She just didn't admit it, but if you ask her, it was 100% her idea. So if you ever get to meet her, it's all her.
Yeah. Well, I usually say that whether it was or not, still a good idea.
Smart. Yeah.
So obviously you're jack of all trades, you can do it all, but is there a specialty? What's your best at, or what you really like doing?
I think I'm just mediocre at a lot of things. I try to dabble in a little bit of everything we can do. On the driving side of it, whether it's a boat or a car, I think I'm getting pretty good there. And it's funny, when I was younger, first starting to drive the car, my lights were good, man. I was on it. And I see new guys that come in, whether it's boat or car, that come in, younger guys, and they're just on it. They can cut lights. They're just really good at driving. And I'm looking at them. I'm like, you know what's cool? I go, "You don't have a mortgage. You're not married. You have no kids. You're not sweating a business if your phone's going to ring the next week, or if you got enough time to get stuff done. You're just barely out of school. That's why you're whipping me right now. Because all that other stuff back in your mind thinking about it. And I've kind of watched myself progress where, it's just life. A little bit more stress, and you think of other things, and sometimes you're not. My focus hasn't been the greatest the last couple of years at times, but this year I've kind of hit the rewind button, and just when I get to the racetrack, I try not to be on the business side of it as much. I'm just there to race. That is at that time when I am racing, whether it is boat or car, that is the most important thing to me at that moment in time in my life. And if I focus on that, that's all I think about, I tend to do a better job. And it's been showing a little bit this year, trying to get a little bit better as far as the boat or the car. I've been doing pretty good at both so far, I think. So as far as the driving goes, I think I do okay there. The business side, I'm distracted very easily there. My phone rings all day long, whether it's text, actual phone calls, Facebook messages, Instagram messages, and it's questions. People want to talk about their stuff, possible new customers. So my dad sees me all day long, my earbuds, and just on my phone. And, all the stuff on the flow bench is sitting there and it's not running, or I got a motor in pieces not going together. I see him kind of look at me like, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm talking to this guy. I'm getting ready to ship this guy some parts. This guy needs me to order this. I go, look at what I got here. Oh, okay. Because we turn our hours in each day for when we work on projects where we're doing it. I turn in the least amount of hours every day because I'm working on the next job coming in or not job leaving.
Yeah. I'm proud of it.
Yeah. I look like I'm just jacking off, but I swear I actually am working for the company. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So probably the business side, I could probably do a little better there. But no, I mean, I love driving, but at the same time, I also love how to make them faster and quicker. That's what makes the alcohol car a lot of fun right now, and the boat, because I tune and drive both. So there'll be times I'm back home from the burnout. I'm like, all right, I put this transmission in. I got this much clutch on it. It might shake about 1 second into it, so be ready for that. And I'm trying to back up the burnout, So that's when you got to stop, get out of crew chief mode, go into driving mode, get ready to go. But I kind of like that distraction a little bit because it's fun for me. That I really do enjoy it. And if they told me tomorrow I couldn't drive anymore, I could just tune, I'd honestly be okay with that because that's still a lot of fun for me to do that. But I'm not old enough yet, I don't think, to stop the whole driving side of it. It's still a lot of fun. I think, like I said, I'm okay at it still, so I'm going to keep doing it as long as they allow me to do it.
That's impressive, though, man. You're tuning an alcohol funny car. I mean, just picked it up. I mean, when did somebody really just hand you the keys to it?
It was actually with our own stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, when we first started, I was trying to do it on my own, but I had no one to bounce any ideas off of, and we were a mess. We were a complete mess. We could qualify, but we were at the back. And then we actually hired a guy for a couple years, kind of got us going down a path, and then kind of got back on our own because it's expensive when you got someone on payroll full time trying to tune the car, and especially if they go and hurt your stuff. It's not their stuff, it's our stuff. So if they screw up, it's costing us money. So my dad's like, we're going to pay someone to go blow our stuff. I might as well just dust.
You might as well learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Write off, right? Training.
Yeah, pretty much.
Training costs.
Totally. I mean, it actually goes back when I was a kid. I was 15, 16 years old. My dad had guys putting motors together for him to go run his boat stuff. And I was just watching. I was right there with them. And same thing. He goes, why am I going to pay someone to go blow it up? It'd be cheaper not have to pay someone. We still go, even if you do it and we go and hurt it. I'm like, okay. So it kind of forced me to learn how to do it there pretty quick. Ralph Gore was a real good mentor of mine. I used to go to his house. He was a fuel system guy, but he did also build engines and had a little fab shop set up in his garage in Mission Viejo. And I would go to school all the way, I think sophomore, junior, and senior year. Every day after high school, I'd go over to his garage, and he wouldn't pay me, but I got to learn about fuel systems. I learned about how to put motors together, how to put cylinder heads together. So that was a really, really good experience. So I would do that till about 6 o'clock. My dad get home from work. Then I go run over there back to our house and then go work on our stuff from what I just learned from Ralph.
Nice.
So it was fun. Didn't have much time for girlfriends and all the other fun stuff that all my buddies were doing, but I was having fun at the same time. I didn't care, So I kind of probably missed that phase of my life, but I don't regret it at all. Trust me. I'm good. And so I got to learn a lot at an early age. And then, I just kind of picked it up. I mean, I've never been the quickest, fastest guy by any means. We won the championship, don't get me wrong. Number one qualifiers here at time, low ETs here at time, but on a weekly basis, we were not the quickest or fastest. We were known for, and the boat stuff too, getting our stuff down the racetrack and consistent runs, because that'll scare your competitor more than anything. If you know that you're not going to screw up, you make a good run, typically they'll just screw up against you. Red light, smoke the tires, or in a boat world, same thing, red light or screw up driving, because they know you're not going to mess up. You're going to go down the racetrack 90% of the time. So that's what we thrive for. That's what we try to do. And the success rate was pretty good, and still is, honestly. Still is that way.
I mean, dude, you win a championship in an alcohol car, that's no joke.
Yeah,
That's no joke.
That was a pretty high point in my life there. I was pretty excited that I got to do that I was 29 years old. So, my dad pretty much owned the operation, but I ran it. It was kind of not my full-time job, but I worked on it every day. But found the money, got the sponsors and put the motors together, put the car together, tuned the car. We had my buddies helping me work on it, but we, paid them to be, there was a paid crew. And we gelled real well. There was no drama. And that was a lot of it, too. You get good guys around you. It really helps the whole atmosphere. It just makes it so much easier and better to go racing that way. And just had a real good group of guys I'm still friends with this day. We all still race together, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that was a fun year. That's something I'll never forget. And I knew about halfway through, I'm like, we have a real chance of doing this here. So I really tried to enjoy it as much as I could. But man, there was a lot of stress that came with it. Started getting a lot of gray hair that year from what I remember at the end there. But yeah. But even now, when I go racing with Rick stuff, we're not doing enough races for points. So I really, as older I get, I appreciate it more for what I get to do, and I really and try to enjoy every minute when I'm there. And I think that's probably why we're probably getting more successful now, because I'm probably more relaxed, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're probably right. Because you don't know when it's going to be gone. And for a minute there, first part of 23, Rick. He passed away. He had long battled cancer. And so he was all done. And Kathy and Chris, who runs the team, I think we're going to sell everything off. And okay, hey, I don't blame you. He's not around anymore. That was his passion. And so we were going to sell it all. I'm like, all right, I'm done driving. But I was good with it, and Rick and I were really good buddies, and I still miss him every day. I'm like, all right, I'm done driving, and I'll just go focus on the boat thing. And then the last minute, literally last minute, decided, well, let's take the car to Pomona and we'll do a service over at the museum. So we took the car to Pomona, and all of Rick's old boat buddies came by, and car guys, and the service was huge. A lot of people were there. We ran the car. We ended up in the final. And it was a killer race with Doug Gordon, 545 to 544. I mean, we barely got beat. But that got a lot of people excited that wanted to come help the team as far as money goes. And before you know it, and they were all Rick's past friends, a lot of them, and Plumbing Concepts was one of them. Steve Deedy, an old boat racer. Tim Fry came on board. Take Two. A lot of these people. Danelle came on board, boat guy, and here we are. We haven't sold anything yet, and we're still racing. Yeah,
and Kathy's been just great with it. She's having fun now coming to the races, and so she's enjoying it. Her family's enjoying it, being around it. So we just kind of keep going. And so that's why I kind of lived it once where they were, it was gone, and then I got it back. So I think that's why I really enjoy it now, because you don't know when when all this is going to be done, because it will be done one day. It is. It's just part of life. Right. But I have a thrill with it right now, and I just don't want to see it go.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm really, and I didn't know this is your story, but starting the shop out of COVID and making that your livelihood now, it's really cool. What's the toughest? What was the toughest part of it? Because you guys are obviously, you ran where your dad did. He had this business, but man, running a fab, rigging, motor building shop, it's a whole different world.
You know what it is, and I learned a lot from my dad, because he had his own business when he first started. He was like 22, 23 years old. He had a cabinet shop he had built up and got that going, and then started that trade show company. And he was 30 with his dad, 31, somewhere in there, and he taught him a lot as far as about running a business. And one, you got to take the emotion out of it. My buddies want to come by and hang out, and my dad would be like, no, but this is not a hangout shop. We are here. We are working. Get out of here. Well, let's have some beers, hang out. No, we're working right now. Go. Come drink beers at 5 when we shut the doors. That's how. And that was tough in the beginning. A lot of people thought it was just our hobby shop. Mm-hmm. That's just there to go hang out during the day. No, this is where we work each day. As cool as it looks, there's pictures and there's TVs on, old drag boat videos going on all day. It is cool. People show up, they just want to hang out, and they do. But it's no, dude, come after. And like you and I trying to set up this meeting here. It's no, I work, during the day. I could probably do it there, and then trying to come here at the family life, trying to juggle it all. But as far as that goes, that was a struggle in the beginning. And my dad, he's like I say, he's a real good business guy. But talking with the customer stuff, sometimes he's almost too forward with them at times, I could say. And he's just straight to the point. No, that's wrong. No, this is how you do it. No, you don't do it that way. And I'm like, I can't talk to people that way. But at the same time, I can't say he's doing it wrong because I watched him run these other businesses and are he successful? He did good. So I'm kind of turning more into that. And me and Joey Gross have had this conversation because he watched his dad, Ron, kind of go through that when they got their little speed shop going. And now he would talk to people, walking into a showroom. I want to build an engine. Well, how much is it going to be? 50 grand. 50 grand, what do you mean? He goes, you don't have 50 grand right now. Just get out of my shop. I don't want to talk to you. And Joey, same thing. You can't do that, Dad.
Yeah.
Well, here they are. Look at him. He's got 100 motors he's backed up right now. He's made a reputation for himself. He does good work. And Dad always said, he goes, I don't want to be the guys. I don't want to be the shop where people come to us and thinking, what was his verbiage, how he said it? He goes, it's going to sting a little. Yeah, we're expensive, but we're going to get it done. It's going to be done right. We're going to do it once. And we're going to move on. We're not going to be the ones that lie to you, get you in, just cheap, and then just start feeding you little bills here and there. Before you know it, when I told you 20 grand, turned into 45,000. We're not going to do that. It's here's the amount. Here's what's going to be. If you don't like it, leave. And we're quick. So I'll start sending invoices real fast. People are like, whoa, slow down, man. If you don't work on mine, I'll come back to it in a couple of months. Nope, it's not a storage facility.
Good, good call.
Get it done and move. Yeah. So some of that was tough in the beginning too, and some things were kind of weird too because we had buddies that we'd work on their boats for fun, like at night at our houses or even at the exhibit shop. And then there were times where they wanted to come in and get that same treatment for nothing again. It's like, no, dude, I got rent, light bill now, and I can't just do it for nothing. The time's ticking, And so that took a minute for some of the people to catch on, but now everyone's good. I mean, I got my best friends that come in there, and I feel bad. I go, hey man, I got to charge. Like, nope, I get it. Charge me just the normal shop rate. It is what it is. That's why I'm here.
Right.
So that's all good.
And good friends, and especially guys that have businesses or understand businesses, they understand. Like they wouldn't think anyway. I talked to a lot of guys through shops through the years, and it's like, hey, that guy's not your friend, buddy. Like if he's coming in here and he's pissed because you charged him too much, he's not your friend because he doesn't understand. You got to, you wouldn't do that to him, right?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. And like you said, it's the best when that's one business owner to another because they get it. They understand it the most for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So do you build the motors too?
Yep. Yeah. That's kind of my side of it. So my dad does actually more of the boat stuff, to be honest, like all the rigging, all the stuff. He's the guy in the mill, on the lathe. I'll do all the welding. He never got into that for some reason. I don't know why, but so I'll do all the welding at the shop. But he'll pre-build all the parts, or actually build all the parts, get everything fit. The motor side of it, I do the building there. I have the kid, Anthony, that helps me as far as assembly goes and some of the stuff for pre-washing parts, getting stuff ready. And he's learned a lot. He knows how to degree camshafts, and now he knows how to check clearances on stuff. So it's been kind of fun to watch that because I spent a lot of time on the flow bench for stuff. A lot of customers come in for flow and system. But no, the final say on the motor, that's me, putting them all together. I don't have any type of machine work there to get anything done. So I got a couple different resources I use for who can kind of get done quickest. I use Joey for a lot of stuff. I'll bring motors or blocks or heads to the races and he'll pick them up from there. And then same thing at the next race. He'll bring it back down, pick it back up. So we've kind of built a good relationship there, and all his blower motor fuel systems he'll send down to me, and same thing. We'll switch trucks in Bakersfield, switch all of our stuff over and then go back up, and so that's kind of worked out real well. And it's fun. I just built a brand new K-boat motor for a guy, and our specialty is more on the blown motor side. Nothing. I just not a carburetor guy. I just don't know enough about it to say, here's what you got to do. Here's how you got to fix it. But if there's a blower and injector, I got you covered. I can get all that done just right. First shot, we're good there. So kind of try to stay in that realm, the blown alcohol or a blown gas engine for sure. Done a couple little nitro things, but that yellow feels kind of scary. Kind of stay away from that if I can.
Guess this is a no-brainer, but I mean, it's pretty comfortable nowadays for a lake boat guy to be able to run an injected motor and have the thing start and run and idle, and
it's gotten better. I mean, you see more and more of them for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about it. A blown carbureted engine or even just carbureted engine, it is easier to start. Push the button and go. But we've come up with ways of priming systems and check valves, but we still kind of make fun of those guys. We're still old school, like the squirt bottles, ready to go. get it going that way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I got guys with, I just did a blown injected motor for a guy with a 28-foot Daytona with an injector on it. I said, dude, really? Because that's what I want. All right. So we did the priming system of check valves, and I saw it going down the Parker Strip a couple weeks ago. I go, hey, it's still running. Look at him go. So it worked. It totally worked.
So it's probably easy to realize what your preference is, though. So if a guy comes in, it's like, look, I got my day cruiser, my Daytona, I want to go 100. I need 800, 1,000. Like, what are you telling me? What's the most economical, easiest, most trouble-free way to do that?
Yeah, I mean, the best way, man, if they come to me and just say, build me something from scratch, that's the best, So it's, the standard, dart block, 400 or 500 bore, 40-50 stroke, I got a 540-inch motor. We got the compression figured out. I got a good cam combo. I got a good blower combo, and it's all shelf parts put together. They're reliable parts. We deal with a lot with the CP Carrillo. So those kind of my go-to guys there. Like I said, I use a lot of Joey for the machine work stuff, and we've built a lot of those combos. When guys come in with motors that have either been hurt, blown up before, or running with a guy's got a blown head gasket, you're trying to patch that stuff together. And I've done it in the beginning, especially, we were trying to get business. And that usually comes back and bites you in the long run, because they go out a couple trips and then they got another issue because there was something else that had been hurt before that you didn't know about, or someone did some janky work that you didn't know about that another machine shop could have done. Who knows?
Right,
so
right.
The best way, which I know is the most expensive way, but just to start fresh is that's the ultimate, if someone says that. But don't get me wrong, I've rebuilt a lot of engines, and you could fix just about anything. We'll rehone them and line bore them and deck them and get them all ready to go, and then put it all back together, which we do a lot of that. But yeah, when someone comes in, just build me a fresh one. I got you covered. Give me a couple months and we're there.
Right. Yep. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, right, you know what to put together because you've broken it and you know what works and what doesn't work. So
unfortunately, learned the hard way on Dad's pocketbook there, for a while. But yeah, no, you're right, man. I've seen more of what not to do than what to do, if that makes sense, and so you try to just take everything you've learned and put it all together into a package, and that's what it is.
So boats and cars, doesn't matter. Who's the tuner that's out there now that you respect the most, that you think's like really the best guy at it?
Man, I'll tell you what, it's the older generation for sure.
Really?
On the car
really?
side, man. Oh, the younger guys coming in to try to keep up with some of these older guys, they're way behind still, which is cool. I like that still, because they got it. I mean, in the car world, is definitely without a doubt, like a guy by the name of Steve Boggs. He's won with Sean Bellemer for I don't know how many championships. And but I'll tell you what, an old Bucky Austin, man, when I drove his car this last week, and he was very successful in alcohol. And his nephew's Pat Austin, which was like my hero growing up on the alcohol world. So I got to hang out with him and his son Drew over the weekend. And super just smart guys. But watching Bucky, I mean, super successful, especially in the nostalgia world, but even in the alcohol world, he was too. He's won, I think he said he has 340 Wallies now between his alcohol car and the nostalgia car of all the wins he's had. I'm like, that's crazy, man. And simple guy, doesn't, nothing's out of the ordinary. It's just he knows how to use his equipment the right way. And Steve Boggs is the same way. They don't have all this fancy stuff, all this trick of the week stuff. It's off the shelf parts that they just know how to make work the best. The guy with the trick of the week, they're good for a run or two. I don't care if it's boat cars, sprint cars. I don't mean racing your belt sander. I don't care. Stick with what works and fine tune it. And those are the guys that I've seen are the most successful. The trick of the week, the flavor of the week, whatever you want to call it, that's always short lived. And I get it. You got to be innovating every now and then. But I think the guys that are most successful, that can win every other weekend or so, those are the guys that have the standard parts, that make it work. Steve Boggs, Bucky Austin, they're at the top right now for sure.
And you said it right too. Like I it's hard to believe more guys don't understand it. Like, just get the thing down to track 9 out of every 10 times, right?
Yep. When we ran our last year in 2018 in my car, I finished second that year, but I actually won more races and got more round wins. But Bellemer was with Boggs, and they just won more than us. So, but I made 85 runs that year, and 78 of them were wide open runs, and over 55 or 50 of them were in the 40s. But just went down the racetrack. So only, I think it was like 8 runs where I had to actually abort a run or pedal it,
Wow,
so
that's pretty impressive.
We won like we did. Just went down the racetrack. Like I said earlier, those guys, they get more scared when they know they got a car that they're going to run against. It's going to go down the racetrack for sure. And same with the boat.
I didn't think about that aspect of it, though. They're like, they know you're going to be good, so they just got to make sure they're a little bit better, and they end up out shooting themselves in the foot trying to do it.
Yep. That was always my mentality, right or wrong. I mean, I was successful at times with it. And there's times, don't get me wrong, I just get flat out run.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be up there in the lanes. I tell the guys, hey, listen, they're better on paper right now. And if they have it together, if they go A to B, they will probably outrun us. But they're also pushing the edge right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they might shake, smoke the tires, whatever it might be, and let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Interesting. How about an engine builder? What's I mean, obviously you talked about Joey Gross, but what's a guy like in history? Who would you like to sit down with? An old school guy to talk motors.
Man, that's a good one. Probably honestly be like in the pro stock world, guys that have been out there a while. Jason Line himself's pretty successful right now. He's still doing that. Like a Steve Schmidt, type of guy. He's seen it all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You hit me with that one. I wasn't prepared for that one right there. Like
Sorry about that.
It probably, actually, Warren Johnson.
Oh, that's a good one.
I would love to hang out with him and hear all the stories of stuff he's done of, different manifolds and cylinder head programs and camshafts and stuff they were trying. I mean, when he was in his heyday of winning, I mean, he would win the race, throw the car in the trailer, and start driving right back to his shop. Take the motor out, get it back in the dyno, and start playing with it, start running.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't even have time to celebrate. 96 wins the dude had, and I don't think he celebrated one of them, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
So I'd love to hang out with Warren Johnson.
Yeah, professor, right?
Oh yeah, and he was too.
Yeah. So you got kids, boats, cars all the time. What else do you do for fun?
Go to the river. Heading out there this weekend.
Awesome.
My dad's 69th birthday. They got a spot down there in Big River, and we'll terrorize it. We were younger, basically the age of drinking. It just turned into pack the ice chest, get in the boat, and go float, go find a beach. And we still do that, but now on the way to the beach, we're towing kids tubing, me boarding. Then we get to the beach, they'll dig some holes for a while, and all right, we're ready to go tubing again. All right, let's go over here.
Yeah,
we still have the same fun. And luckily, all my buddies who I've been friends with for so long, we all got married within like a couple years. We all had kids within a couple years, and wives, everyone. We've been friends, all of us, over 20 years now. So we all kind of watched each other grow and buying houses and like I said, having kids. And we compare notes, how screwed up our kid is this week or how they're doing in school or who they're fighting with. We all kind of got similar stuff. So, yeah, we all do the same things, and it's kind of been fun to watch, actually, how all the kids, watching them grow up together. It's fun. So just got confirmation that we're all going to the river at the same time. We all got places within a mile from each other.
Oh, nice.
So at night, it's just cruising the golf carts and who's feeding us tonight? Where are we going? Whose beer are we drinking today? So
yeah,
doing that this weekend. And then, man, it's game on for racing after that, especially this Bucky thing. So it'll go from river this weekend, just got back from Idaho, river. Then the following weekend, I go to Brainerd, Minnesota with the alcohol car. The following, I go to Woodburn, Oregon with the nostalgia car. Following weekend, go to Indianapolis for the U.S. Nationals and the alcohol car. And then there is a weekend off, probably sneak out to the river again. And then the following weekend is Bakersfield boat race. My wife planned a trip to Hawaii for us. We're going to go to Hawaii for a week. I come right back, work for a day, and head to Dallas for an alcohol funny car. The following weekend's Bakersfield boat race. The following weekend's Bakersfield nostalgia. The following is Vegas National. I'm going to run the nostalgia and the alcohol car. The following is the Vegas regional event. The following is the Pomona National event for the alcohol car. And then the following, that's when the kids will show up.
My gosh. Crazy.
I just wore you out right there, huh?
I know. How the hell did you remember all that?
I just saw it on the calendar because my wife knows all about it now. So, yeah, no, it's going to be out of control here for the next couple months. But you know what? I love it that way because I don't like sitting at home, sitting still. Honestly, I spend money. I'd rather just be on the road and just running around like crazy. I always tell people I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm honestly at this point in my life probably having the most fun I've ever had. Got a couple young, great kids. A wife who just supports me for what I do and just digs all this stuff. And luckily we have a lot of that in common, and our families all get along, and the racing stuff, the business side. I mean, it honestly doesn't get any better right now than how I have it, how I'm going through life right now. It's great. Every day's great.
Yeah, fantastic. Yep. You certainly look like it's all lined out just perfectly. So
Yeah.
good for you, man. Good for you. And hey, thanks for taking the time. And we played phone tag a little bit for the last few weeks, but thanks for fitting me in. I appreciate it. And we'll keep our eyes on you. And you can find Shane, Westerfield Motorsports, I believe, .com is website. And then you're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, the whole bit. And go check out his t-shirts and join his t-shirt club.
There you go.
So, all right, man. Well, thanks again. And we'll be rooting for you.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to Powerboat Talk. If you like what you've heard, please head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. For more Powerboat Talk, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website at powerboattalk.com. Thank you for listening to Powerboat Talk. If you like what you've heard, please head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star review. For more Powerboat Talk, follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or visit our website at powerboattalk.com.